Yo, what is going on, everybody? We've got actually Among Us here in week 3 of the PWD Draft League. Today we are going up against a good friend. We're going up against Bloud, coach of the Immortal Drampas, or OG to the group. He's just starting his channel, which will be linked in the description, and y'all have to go check that out. But he's been around for a while, good friends with a lot of the guys that you guys are familiar with as content creators. So, I mean, that kind of means the channel's going to be fire, right? Go check that out in the description. But, on to the battle. I'm coming into this battle 1-1 after the worst loss of the season so far. And Coach Bloud and his Immortal Drampas are the #1 seed in the league. So you know I got a challenge ahead of me. I prepped really hard for this battle. A ton of respect to Coach Bloud's team because I think Bishme's team was a little bit synergized and better for his #1 power or preseason power ranking, But I think that Coach Bloud's was my favorite team. And that's just my personal opinion. You know, it's pretty close on the rosters, which is #1 and 2, but it's one of the best rosters in the entire draft league. So I definitely put a ton of respect to that and to prep it. Of course, he's got the G-Max Cinderace, which is a threat in of itself, but he also has an electric terrain like core to his team, which threatens me a lot. He has the Pinch Urchin, he has the Alolan Raichu, and he brought the Howlucha, which all threaten, well, the electric core threatens my G-Max, which is Blastoise, really well. It was definitely not my expectation for Blastoise to be able to sweep this caliber and this kind of team, especially with its typing. I brought some crazy stuff too this week as well, as you will see in this battle. But Carlos, because his matchup is fairly good against me, I was able to predict all 6 Pokemon that Coach Bloud brought. And that's all good and well because I think he made the right choices of the Pokemon that were best against me. And it was a tough battle. I was really pressed trying to figure out in prep how to deal with a lot of these things. G-Max Cinderace is an absolute threat. This Pokemon is a monster with its Libero ability and its G-Max signature move, ignoring other abilities. So, like, for example, on my team, I could try to use my Miltank to switch into a Pyro Ball, but not if he's in his G-Max form. It would ignore the ability Thick Fat, and that would be a very costly mistake to lose Miltank early. So basically the game plan, I started executing it from the beginning, and me and Coach Bloud have a great back and forth because the first step of my game plan was to set up screens. He starts with the right lead and the knockoff, which truthfully, knowing that me and Coach Bloud have played a bit, I didn't know if he would be thinking I would set up the screens with my Claydol or if I would set up the Stealth Rocks. And unless you want to run it on a really inconsistent option, he doesn't really have other ways to get rid of any kind of hazard besides the Decidueye, so I didn't know what kind of attack would be coming out at the beginning. But props to Coach Bloud because the knockoff play was great. It was not only a ton of damage, but a really great way to neutralize that advantage state. I really don't end up getting a ton of work done out of my screens except for kind of surviving this attack, which does put very important damage out on the Duraludon, but it's not what I was looking for out of my screens play. I was looking for opportunities to, either start to do what I go to do this turn, which is put my Glalie out in a good, advantageous position, and it's definitely luck based. But if I'm getting boosts in stats like defense, attack, and speed, and especially if most of my drops are in special attack, Glalie can pose a very good threat to his entire team. It also has access to the move Steel Roller, so I could have used that to get rid of his electric terrain. But I'm getting a little ahead of the battle. Let me go along with, step 2 of the plan before I started working on any of my offensive Pokemon, like the Glalie, was to set up Stealth Rocks. He goes to the Decidueye on the Stealth Rock, so I'm really thinking at this point, this Defog it's the most logical and best defogger on the team. He could have not brought a way to remove hazards, but I just don't know. Another key Decidueye play by Coach Bloud is knocking off the leftovers on this thing, because it really limits the amount of time that it can stay out on the field, and nerfs its ability to get enough boosts, because obviously if you're going up 2 and down 1 each turn, eventually you're going to have more boosts than you started with. Eventually Glalie can get to a point with its Moody ability where it's very difficult to deal with and damage with either physical or special attacks. It'll be fast. It may vary a little bit here and there, but like the debuff boosts become less and less relevant as time goes on. So knocking off my leftovers gave me a lot of or took away a lot of time from how long I could use this Glalie. He does get another good hit out on the Duraludon, and some of my boosts are like meh through these rolls. Like I said, I'm looking for attack, defense, and speed, probably in the order of attack, speed, and defense. But I can roll with what I do get on the Moody rolls for a little bit. However, it's just like not enough. You know what I mean? When this thing comes out especially, I know that things are about to get real. So, honestly, I don't even go for the Claydol. I know I had some boosts and like some defense, but like I thought about the Earthquake, and I made the decision that I wanted to make a sack and go with a different plan of action for taking this thing down. Which part of the decision to do so was based on the good possibility that he would automatically Gigantamax his Cinderace. Now, there may have been some advantages to saving it. I don't really know. I think it was the right time. But I did know that if he went for that play, it would be well, obviously it would be really hard to deal with even more hard to deal with Cinderace in this state. I already mentioned how my Miltank cannot take a Pyro Ball due to the ability of Cinderace's signature move, which means that I have to try to stall out the Dynamax turns. So that means I'm going to come out to my Glalie again. Obviously, I'm at a type disadvantage, but I I just want to see what I roll on the stats, and I had Protect on this thing to burn Dynamax turns, you know, like, that's basically my train of thought on this. Cinderace is a monster, and coming into this battle, I knew that it had a lot of one-hit kill opportunities on this team. I get lucky enough to get the speed boost, which I also knew that would put... I put my Glalie at exactly 200 speed, so that when figuring speed, I could just count the boosts. You know, each boost would be 100 speed. So 200, 300, and now it's at 4. That was, you know, one of the reasons why I went for the Earthquake in that turn. Obviously, the damage was very important. And more or less, the Glalie had done its job. You know, like, I'm not going to get a lot more work out of it. It would stall the last turn of Dynamax, and that would be good enough as when coupled with the Earthquake damage. Now, this is where things get crazy. No doubt. Because I did extensive prep for this team, man. I really figured that Blastoise would not be the ending win condition for this team. But at the health with Cinderace was at, and the amount of defense that I did run on my Blastoise, maybe I didn't calculate for Life Orb. Thinking back on my prep, that was probably one of my big mistakes, is not calculating for Life Orb. Because I thought I was going to live this attack when I go for this Shell Smash, folks. Believe you me. And, you know, I may have spoke a little bit too soon, but it just gives me time to get my words out and give the proper credit to Coach Bloud and his preparation on the other end of things, because he figured out the way to make sure that he could take out my Blastoise with the Cinderace. I thought that I was going to get some good wall-breaking work out of Blastoise, even if it wasn't my end-of-the-game win con. And, man, when that Blastoise went down, I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little shook about how this battle was going to go. You see, I almost make the bad play right here and give him my win con. But I'm like, wait. The Gigantamax is over. I don't know if I can take a high jump kick, but there's a 10% chance he misses it. I could take some attacks with my Miltank. Miltank already had a little bit of chip damage on it. I don't think that was important in this case. I needed the miss. After the Blastoise went down, I was pretty sure that the Life Orb was enough to take out the Miltank as well. So, shout out to Carlos. I mean, he high jump kicked my defensive Chopple buried Miltank. You know, he did his prep right as well, and this is a great battle because both players came ready to battle for sure. You know, I would be a little bit biased in saying this, but I would be surprised if this isn't one of the top battles of the season so far, in most people's opinions. This battle came out amazing. So then, my luck does continue. If this didn't happen, chances are I do not win. I bring some more prep for Cinderace. Of course, it was nearly impossible task. I had to bring as many answers for this Pokemon as I could. But Tangrowth being one of my most reliable walls, physically and specially, I'm able to get off the Ancient Power. And not only am I able to get off the Ancient Power, I'm able to get off the kill. And not only am I able to get off the kill, I'm able to pick up the Helix boost. Praise Helix for this one, because this luck saved me. You know, I mean, a lot of 10% chances happened in this game, and I risked my Pokemon on 10% chances more than is probably advised in this game. But it happened the way it happened. Obviously, I can't control whether the boost goes off or not. I'm just sitting there praying and praying that it would, and it did. So then I have a pretty good advantage here because I resist the electric attacks of his Pokemon. I really thought that he was going to go for Memento this turn because I had seen him use it prior in the season, and if I was able to sub on the Memento and get him to sacrifice his Pokemon, that would have been a huge advantage for me. But instead, I make it work out possibly even better because I'm able to get off a couple of Giga Drains on his Pinch Urchin. And not only that, but my Tangrowth is able to live through a rising voltage, or my Tangrowth substitute is able to live through a rising voltage from the Pinch Urchin. You know, obviously I don't know his EV spread, but with the way that people usually run Pinch Urchin as well as the composition of the rest of his team, I imagine that he didn't have the opportunity to fully invest in special attack. But the fact that that did less than 25% and therefore not breaking my sub was great for me. Which, you know, I was not confident, but I was hoping that it could, because I know what Tangrowth can do as a wall. And I know that I brought it with some good special investment. Obviously, I couldn't run an Assault Vest set, but it would be more useful on the special side of resisting his threats than on the physical. So, you know, I especially after the Cinderace part of the battle, I really didn't know how well Coach Bloud had calculated his Pinch Urchin to take me down offensively, but fortunately I was able to keep my sub up and get 2 Giga Drains off on that, as well as 2 Giga Drains off on this. And so that's why I say that without the what I call the Helix boost off of Ancient Power, I definitely would not have been able to win this battle. So this is a pretty clutch turn too, because I mean we know that Alolan Raichu is going to bring some good power. But like I said, Tangrowth, such a reliable wall, such a great addition to my team. And we're able to pick up the kill and come out with not bad health. Really not. However, at this point in the battle, we knew that this would happen eventually. The thought had crossed my mind to Dynamax and set up grassy terrain, but that was not the way. That was too aggressive and honestly would have been a choke. So we just go for the Ancient Power, but we really know that we're not going for anything on this turn. Hawlucha easily picks up the kill. I didn't have very much defensive investment in favor of trying to deal with things that I could resist, like Alolan Raichu better. However, I still have one threat left to go. I brought this with a Focus Sash because it has the move Nasty Plot on it, and in most of the situations when it would come out in the battle, I wouldn't be so back against the wall. It would maybe be like a late game cleanup if I would have got more wall breaking support out of my Blastoise. Instead though, I go for the Dynamax and I go for the Max Ooze, and I'm able to live Hawlucha's attacks easily. You know, of course I don't give Coach Bloud any time at the end of this close battle to get up a Swords Dance or anything like that. And basically, because, you know, I mean, with the Focus Sash, had he gone Swords Dance maybe on this turn, you know, there was no opportunity to actually pick up the kill because of the Focus Sash. Anyways, I used my first 2 turns of Dynamax as a Max Ooze, which kind of doubles as a Nasty Plot. And of course, with the extra health, as well as the extra pressure to not allow him to Swords Dance, this is able to pick up a 2-hit KO, and then in doing so, defeat the last thing that can outspeed me on Coach Bloud's team. So, at the pivotal turn of the battle, the final turn, with 3 minutes left, we have Salazzle on one side, and we have Decidueye on the other. I know that Decidueye has access to priority in Sucker Punch as well as Shadow Sneak. I don't know if it's a defog, Choice Scarf, if it's a good build for this 1v1, a bad build for me. I really don't know what to expect here either, and if you don't notice by the little bit of a pause, I have a strong feeling that Coach Bloud doesn't know really what to expect coming into this last, most pivotal turn of the match. Now, clearly, what we do know, without doing any calculation, is that my moves are going to be better than his. Like, he's got to find a way to pick up this last little bit of health, and I'm at +2 with 2 super effective attacks, which actually didn't notice during the battle that Max Ooze wasn't. I just went for the strongest attack I could possibly hit this thing with, knowing that this was the last turn of the battle, no matter what happened. And I got 74 HP to work with, and a full health Pokemon in front of me that only took damage coming in on Stealth Rocks. So it all comes down to this. With less than 3 minutes remaining, Salazzle lives at 14 health. Picks up the kill on Decidueye. And the Atlanta Sobbles take this one by 14 health. If you could put that statistic into my differential, folks, it would not be very much. It would be like a 10th of a +1. However, we do pick up the +1 victory. And shout out to Coach Bloud. I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, until next week, one more time, make sure y'all check out Coach Bloud's channel. Link in the description. But other than that, peace.